Really what we did is we blew this up so that it's much larger. So again, the outer capsule, the cortex, and the medulla. So the dark red here is the pyramids. And you have two nephrons that are being represented here. One is known as a cortical nephron because it's about half cortical, half medulla. But this one here is so much more in the medulla. Okay, this is what's called a juxtamedullary nephron. Okay, this is the one that would more likely be involved in diluting and concentrating urine because it's going so deep into the medulla and there's concentration changes. Okay, so this is cortical juxtamedullary. The blood vessels on here, interlobar, arcuate, interlobulars. Now what's going to happen from the interlobular is your vessel here, maybe hard to see, is the same as this one, is an afferent arteriole. Just think like with the nervous system, you had afferent neurons that brought things into the central nervous system and efferent that took them out. This is the afferent arteriole, this is the efferent. So in here, the afferent goes into the filter. It goes into the glomerulus. All of this is the glomerulus. It's actually the renal filter. Okay, and because of pressure changes, you can actually, the difference between inside the blood pressure and other pressures in the capsule, okay, you actually filter off blood into the capsule and into eventually the proximal convoluted tubule. So what happens here is pressure changes allow these capillaries to work as a filter. Okay, now everything will get filtered except medium and large proteins and blood. Okay, if you see blood in your urine, there's something wrong. Okay, it's not a normal thing. Okay, obviously, unless you were using some kind of urine analysis test strip, you wouldn't know if there was protein in the urine, chances are. Okay, but medium and large proteins should not get through the filter. Okay, blood shouldn't get through the filter, the blood cells are too big. Everything else will get through, water and sodium, glucose, potassium, amino acids, urea, uric acid, all the waste products, obviously, creatinine, urea, uric acid, ammonium ions. And as we'll see in lecture, various things get put back into the blood and various things go out in the urine. So these vessels here are afferent and they go into the glomerulus. So afferent into the glomerulus. The blood that's now been filtered comes back and goes into this here, into the efferent with an E, taking it away, arteriole. And what happens with the efferent arteriole is the following. It'll either go into these peritubular capillaries or vasa recta. The peritubular capillaries, they wrap themselves around the tubules. Peritubular, around tubules. Okay, and the vasa recta means straight vessels. They just go way down into the medulla, okay, and they're going to be there to concentrate and dilute the urine. Okay. Eventually what happens is that all of this will come back through interlobular veins here, okay, arcuate veins, interlobar veins, segmental and renal veins, taking us stuff away from the kidneys. So that's really the blood circulation. The nephron itself, okay, and we'll go through it on this board as well as on here. These tan structures here, okay, I'll accept two answers on the final if I put a sticker on it. Bowman's capsule or the renal corpuscle. Okay? Because unless you're cutting it open to see the inside, you're not seeing the capillaries, you're not seeing the glomerulus. Okay? So I'll accept Bowman's capsule or renal corpuscle. Here, you can see Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus in here. Now from the glomerulus you go into the proximal convoluted tubules, PCT, proximal convoluted tubules, down into the descending limb of the loop of Henle, the loop, the ascending limb of the loop of Henle into the distal convoluted tubules, into your collecting ducts. I'll go through it again. The collecting ducts actually pick up urine from different nephrons. So all of these represent different nephrons. Collecting ducts go way down and go into the papilla, the papillary duct. Now, as far as the loop of Henle goes, I'm not going to hold you responsible for the thin limb, the thick limb, this, that, and the other thing. Just know it's the descending or ascending limb of the loop. So again, right off Bowman's capsule, proximal, closer to it, proximal convoluted tubules. Down into the descending limb of the loop of Henle, the actual loop, ascending limb of the loop of Henle, the distal tubules, collecting ducts, papillary duct. Now on this it's the same. Just follow it through. Proximal tubules, descending limb, ascending limb of the loop of Henle, the distal tubules, collecting ducts. Now, like I said, on here, you have the afferent arteriole coming in to the glomerulus, and the reason you have two different colors here, the tan and the red, is because one has the epithelial layers on it and one doesn't. Don't worry about it. It's glomerulus. Efferent arteriole is always the forked vessel. It's not on the sheet, chances are I wouldn't ask it on the final, but what is this area here?
Glomerular cells.
Juxta what?
Juxtaglomerular cells.
Good. Juxtaglomerular cells or the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay, what does it do?
It's for the juxtaglomerular complex. Makes the erythropoietin and the renin
Okay.
with the distal convoluted tubule.
Right, well this here is the
Mesa.
macula densa, the distal tubule. Okay, some books are telling you it's ascending limb of loop of Henle at the very end, but I think it's distal. What it's doing is exactly what you said. It's basically the baroreceptors. It senses changes in blood pressure, okay, which is basically going to produce renin. I'm not so sure of erythropoietin so much, but you could be right. But renin definitely. Okay. Renin is going to do the whole thing with renin, angiotensin, aldosterone, the blood pressure stuff. Okay, so that's what that is. Okay, and again, this is the macula densa, part of the distal tubule. Okay, this is Bowman's capsule, and this is the proximal convoluted tubule.